Escape the dungeon!
Hello, everybody. This is Escape the Dungeon, the podcast where we ask you to join us as we explore the world beyond the world's oldest role-playing game. My name is Mike Cripps, and I will be your host and game master, and I am joined by three stellar players: Zach Brass.
Hello.
Dom Brass.
Yo, what's up?
And Nate Brass.
Hi all, today I will be playing Cypher.
Each season, we will be playing a different tabletop role-playing game. This season, we are playing Scum and Villainy, a Forged in the Dark game published by Evil Hat Productions. Guys, I want to give our audience, a chance to get to know us as players at the start of these episodes, get to know us as people. Get to learn our voices, very important. So I've prepared three questions that I want to ask you guys up here at the top of the episode. And, each of you is going to get a different question. And it'll give our audience a chance to learn a little bit more about us. How does that sound?
Oh, that sounds like fun to me.
I'm
Yeah,
nervous.
sounds.
Nate, my question for you. Scum and Villainy is obviously a game inspired by great space operas, many of which have iconic alien and robot sidekicks. Who's your favorite sci-fi sidekick?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Too bad I didn't know you were going to ask me this. I would have to go with Marvin the Martian. Not Marvin the Martian, just Marvin from Hitchhiker's Guide to the
robot.
Galaxy. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
the-
It goes off the tongue. You just say Marvin and you're like, the Martian.
You just want to say the
Yeah.
Martian. Yeah, Marvin, famous sad robot. Very good choice. A very good sci-fi sidekick. Zach, my question for you, in this game where you're often asked to perform jobs of dubious legality, who's your favorite fictional criminal? Not necessarily sci-fi, just in general.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I'm definitely a fan of the Joker. He's
Ooh,
fun.
He's twisted.
Classic cartoon Joker.
The clown prince of crime.
He grew on me a lot.
Did you have an unframed Dark Knight poster hanging on your wall when you were in college?
No Dark Knight posters for me, unfortunately.
That was a crucial part of my college experience.
There you go.
Dom, I've got a question here for you. The Procyon sector in Scum and Villainy is ruled by the iron fist of the galactic hegemony. My question for you is, do you ever feel that the government doesn't have your best interest at heart? And if no, what have you done to change that? Do you think you've done enough? Can any single person do enough by themselves to make a real difference in the face of an uncaring, oppressive system?
I'll make your answer snappy.
I mean, it's kind of a big question, I think. I thought I was going to get like more of a character question like the other guys.
I think those are about three equivalent questions.
Okay.
Go on.
I guess, just do your civic duty and no, nothing's going to change. We're all doomed. The, galactic hegemony is going to control us all for the rest of our lives.
Dark.
Yeah, well, millennials.
Some words of hope from Dom there
Okay,
to
well,
start
you
the
know what?
episode.
It wasn't really a fair question.
You guys ready to play?
Yeah, let's get going.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Procyon sector. We last left our heroes, the intrepid Captain Crash Jordan, the self-proclaimed greatest pilot in the galaxy Cypher, and mysterious mystical Dr. Gorpheus in the thick wilderness of jungle planet Aketi. They are on the hunt for an apex predator, the Grand Pharoniki, but first they must survive a clutch of carnivorous plants that are looking for their lunch. Join us now as our crew seeks to finish their job and return safe to the Phoenix 13!
Ding! Ding!
All right, boys. You ready? I say, stepping and staring into the sky, just from exactly where we left off.
From exactly where we left off. Well, before we get quite where we left off, let's talk a little bit about some game rules. Yeah! So,
Rules.
we are now in the real job phase of Scum and Villainy. Now, we ended last episode by doing the engagement roll to determine basically how good of a position you are, that you are in to start the job. And you're in a risky position, which is, kind of standard. But there's a few other things that we've got to talk about before we jump into the action. One of those things is that I need you each to declare your load. Load is a term in the game to determine how much equipment you have on you, how much stuff. You don't need to declare now exactly what items you have on you. You can kind of reach into your bag of holding infinite pockets and pull out whatever you need when you need it in this game, but you need to declare ahead of time how much weight, how much load you are carrying. You've got 3 options for this, and you can each choose individually. You don't all have to be the same. But you can either have a light load, a normal load, or a heavy load. And what those things mean is someone can tell just by looking at your characters roughly what level of load you have. If you have a light load, you kind of look like just a bystander, a person that isn't obviously up to anything. If you have a normal load, you look like you are up to no good. You look like, somebody on a job, a scoundrel of some sort. If you have a heavy load, you look like you are ready for war. And people know to keep away from you. So with that in mind, what load level do you think your characters would have to start this job?
Well, see, here's the thing. We're on Jungle World, right?
Yeah, that was
Who
my thought
cares?
process. I say we all just go for a heavy
So-
load on this one.
Yeah. We're gonna go heavy, I think.
Yeah, you can all go heavy. If one person wants to go a little less, they can. But by all means, if you think that heavy is the best, you can go ahead and mark that on your character sheets for this job.
I mean, guys, I'm always down for let's all bring all the weapons, but we are, walking through a jungle. Do we want to be heavy artillery? Are we going to have to lug this stuff around?
Dude, you talk like you've never seen a Predator movie. Obviously, we want to be artillery.
Damn it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, exactly. We're going through a jungle. And it's a sci-fi. So if we need to, we could just, call the ship or something. I don't know how it works, but...
Beam me up, Scotty.
I'll throw this out here as well, just in case this changes your mind any. Heavier load is going to slow you down a little bit. compared to a normal or light load. Like a light load, you're actually a little bit faster. Of course, all that's narrative. You don't actually have fixed movement speeds, but it might come up if you're trying to like outrun something or catch up to something.
Then I think for our plan, maybe I should go with a lighter load and then you guys go heavy load.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And then I pretend to be a sexy lizard panther.
Okay.
So
It's
I'll
a good
go light
plan.
load then.
All right, I
with
guess I'll go
my
heavy then.
hologram
Perfect. Then we'll do heavy.
and audio deception running as I stalk through the woods.
Well, and let's talk about that then, Nate, because to start your plan, you guys did say that you were going to use some kind of equipment. So what I'd like you guys to do is mark your appropriate equipment on your character sheet. This is a game where you can kind of always have what you need on you to a certain extent, but you can only pull out enough things to add up to the amount of load that you're carrying. So going into this job, some of that load between the three of you is going to be spent on the equipment to disguise your motorcycle. We say motorcycle, your like hover bike, and something to produce this audio. So who wants to mark those? It sounds like you could use things like, hacking tools, repair tools, spy gear, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Sure. I'll mark the spy gear.
Yeah, I think those are two separate pieces of equipment. So between the three of you, I'd like you to mark 2 boxes of load.
Okay. I'll mark hacking tools.
Great.
Okay, I'll do the spy gear, I guess. If it's to disguise it, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Great. So we'll dive into the action here as Crash Jordan, Cypher, and Gorpheus are being surrounded by these moving carnivorous plants. This is in maybe a more traditional fantasy dungeon crawl game. This is when I would ask you to roll for initiative, but that's not really a thing in Scum and Villainy. Instead of moving into a specific combat encounter, you're still just in the job mode. So when there's an obstacle like these carnivorous plants, I'm just gonna ask you how you think your characters would deal with this, and we'll resolve it from there. So with these carnivorous plants surrounding you and starting to lunge at you with vines and tendrils, and there's like a giant snapping Venus flytrap head, what's your first reaction here? What do you guys do?
I'm gonna take out my heavy blaster and shoot them. Yep. Just big old space laser gun and just start aiming down and just trying to see if their little heads explode into plant matter when I shoot them.
Just trying to waste these things.
Yeah, I mean, are you kidding me? This thing's jumping at me. We're in a space jungle. I'm kind of feeling pretty cool right now, going through the jungle. Definitely just like, yeah, are you kidding me? This is the perfect time to use this. How often do I get to run around fully loaded and just waste shit?
Yeah, so whenever you want to take an action and I call for an action roll, which is what I'm going to do now, it is up to you guys to determine which of your many actions you would like to use. So Zach, looking over your character sheet, which of your actions do you want to take on this?
I mean, I feel like scrap suits, right? I'm just You know, that's I'm shooting these guys.
Yeah, scrap is sort of the just classic get into a fight action. It doesn't really make a difference whether that's melee or ranged or whatever. So yeah, you pull out your like two-handed heavy blaster and start firing away. The next step of this is going to be, as the GM, I declare what the position and the effect of this roll is. Basically, how risky of a situation is this? And it is risky. That is the game term for the current position, and how effective this particular tactic is going to be to accomplish what you're trying to do. I think pulling out a heavy blaster and firing at a carnivorous plant is about as effective as it could possibly be. So for this roll, your position is going to be risky, and your effect is going to be great.
Awesome.
So now you are going to roll a number of d6s equal to the amount of dots you have in your scrap skill, and you will take the highest result of those d6s.
Can I give him a help action for an extra d6?
You can. At any point, you guys can help each other out if you can describe how you're doing so. That will cost you a resource called stress. To aid someone, you are going to take 1 stress of yourself. It's sort of like a hit points resource, not really. But how is Cypher going to assist Captain Jordan as he shoots this plant?
I think Cypher's going to ride right at the carnivorous plants on their speeder bike and kind of like swerve right out of the way to kind of cause them to lunge right into the path of Captain Jordan's shot. I feel like that's a move that they go for. Like Jordan's calls like a command, like duck hunt or something, and then we just go for it.
Yeah, so as Cypher zooms by these plants to sort of make them recoil into line for Jordan to shoot at. Zach, you will get an extra die on your scrap roll, bringing you up to 3 dice. What do you get?
I rolled a 1, a 4, and a 6.
A 6, so that is going to be just a full success. No consequences. You do it. You blast away a couple of these lunging carnivorous plants, and they do in fact just explode into plant matter and pulp, just flying up into the jungle air. So what is going to happen now is we're going to talk about clocks. Everyone, just bear with us. We're trying to go a little bit into detail about the rules and mechanics of the game, but we're going to get faster as we go. Just the first time that something comes up, we're going to explain it a little bit. And so I am going to start what is called a progress clock. So this is going to be like a little pie chart that I am going to give 4 segments. And when all the segments of this pie are filled, when all the segments of this clock have been filled, you will have fully progressed with this obstacle past it. So this is going to be a 4-segment clock called Clearing the Carnivorous Plants. And because that was a success on a risky roll, you do it, you are going to get 1 segment of that clock filled. So basically, you can think of it like a quarter of these carnivorous plants have been dealt with.
6 gets only 1 filled? Shit. That's not good.
Oh man, you guys should really get in on this. This is great. I say, shooting the heads off of more carnivorous plants. Ooh, we can make a game out of it. Whoever gets the most gets a bigger cut or something.
So eloquent, Captain Jordan. So as a segment of these plants are blown away, there's still more lunging. What is Gorpheus doing as Cypher helped Crash deal with some of those?
Gorpheus is gonna take out his stun baton, and he's gonna swat at the plants. I've got you, Captain. Don't worry. I'm gonna stun them. We can do this without, actually having to damage the integrity of the wildlife. I'm gonna try to stun the plants.
And what action would you like to use to do this?
Well, obviously, I would be using scrap.
Yeah, how many dice do you have in Scrap?
I have 1.
All right, so go ahead and roll 1d6. This is going to be still a risky position. I think a stun baton is going to be a little bit less effective than a blaster. So make this standard effect. And I'm going to fill a second segment of this clock because Crash did have great effect on that roll. So you are 2 out of 4.
So sorry, am I risky here?
Yes, the position is still risky.
I'm gonna try and I'm gonna turn around and help him by shooting it if he misses, basically. Because he said he doesn't want to. I'm doing it. You could say it's helping. He said something about the integrity of the wildlife, and I was just like, haha.
Sure. So you take 1 stress, Crash, and give yourself an extra die on your scrap roll.
Okay. I'm gonna roll it again.
Keep that one.
Yeah, I was gonna keep that one. I'm just gonna roll it one more time to see if I super crit or something, I guess.
That is a thing. If you roll 2 6s, it's
Okay, I did not roll 2 6s. I did roll 1 6 though.
Great. So that is a 6. Again, you just do it. There's no consequence to this. You start hacking away at these carnivorous plants as Crash starts pointing them out as he turns around, firing away as well. That is going to give you 1 more segment on this clock. The plants are almost pushed back, but there's still that one very large Venus flytrap head that is sort of moving around like a snake almost before it starts to lunge at Cypher. Cypher, what would you like to do here?
I think Cypher's just not even shooting or attacking any of these things. They're just weaving in and out, having the time of their life. And I think they're zooming, they're having fun. I think they're gonna go for a drift dodge.
Sure. So what action are you gonna use for this?
I think that's gonna be a helm.
A helm roll
to control my bike out of the way of this swiping mouth.
Yeah, and so you're trying more to not directly. You're not ramming the plant. The
I think Cypher's not
plant.
the muscle of this crew, and they probably tried to get the attention of this plant so that they could dash away quickly, and then the others could just get away from a distance.
Yeah, so go ahead and make your helm roll. Because most of the plants have been dealt with, I'll bump you up to a controlled position, and that will give you standard effect on this roll.
That's a 5.
A 5. So because you are in such a good position with this, where you're really just dealing with this one remaining large carnivorous plant, you have an option here, Cypher. You're kind of revving your hover bike, waiting for just the right moment, but you realize that the the plant is coming right for you, and you might not get quite as clean a look at this as you might like. So you can either, with a 5 on a controlled roll, you can either withdraw and try a different approach, basically use a different action other than helm, and try another action, but without any other consequence, or you can succeed at this but suffer a minor consequence.
Could you quickly tell me how resisting a consequence works?
I would love to. Anytime I give you guys a consequence as a result of a die roll, you can tell me, Mike, I don't want that to happen, and you can roll to resist it. There are 3 kinds of resistance rolls that you can make. You can maybe think of them like saving throws from other kinds of games. And depending on the kind of consequence that it is, it will determine which of those 3 resistance rolls you make, either an insight roll, a prowess roll, or a resolve roll. You can kind of think of that as like mental, physical, social. They might not always perfectly align with those things, but it's the basics. And like I said, if you don't want to take a consequence, you'll roll whichever one of those 3 I tell you to. You'll take some stress by resisting the consequence, but you'll reduce the stress by the result of your roll. So you potentially could take no stress and totally avoid the consequence.
Let's try that.
Sure. So, and technically you don't even have to choose now until I tell you what the consequence would be, but you realize you don't get a perfect look at this thing as you're revving your engines, but you decide to go for it anyway. And as you rev, there's like a kickback of space exhaust and jet fuel that causes like a large, loud, booming sound that sort of breaks through the mating calls that you are producing through your rigged up, hacked up sound system. And so the consequence I'll give you here is that I'm going to start another clock. This is going to be a 6-segment clock, but it is going to be vigilance awareness. If you recall, you were told about a group of strange mystics who patrol the jungles to try and keep out outsiders here. And they might become a little bit more aware of your presence here, unless you want to resist this.
I want to try to resist this.
Don't bother.
Do it! Resist it!
Well,
this is the most important.
I have my starting ability as a pilot is Ace Pilot. You have potency on all speed related rolls. When you roll to resist consequences of piloting, gain 1 dice.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So I have an extra D on whatever this is.
Yeah, and so you throttle your engine. Throttle's the right term, right? I know a lot about engines.
You're good. Nailed it.
You throttle your engine. You blast through the jungle as this thing lunges after you, and you turn at just the right moment as it then like plummets into the side of a large jungle tree. And as it's dazed for a moment there, that gives Captain Crash Jordan and Gorpheus enough time to blast it and pummel it with their stun baton and blaster until there is nothing left of these carnivorous plants in this area. You are going to need to roll to resist that consequence. That is going to be a prowess roll. because it's a consequence of helming. So you will roll a number of dice equal to however many dots you have in, however many first dots you have
Yeah.
in prowess skills. And you will gain an additional one from your special ability.
I got a 4.
A 4.
So 2 more stress.
Yeah, so you're going to suffer 6 stress minus the highest result, so you're going to take 2 stress from that. And so the plants have been cleared. This little grove you are in here in the middle of the jungle has no more immediate threat from these carnivorous plants. So because Cypher has resisted that consequence, Vigilance remains unaware of your presence and your plot here. So now that you guys have a clear grove free from these carnivorous plants, what's your plan here? You're just gonna sit and wait and see if you can get one of these creatures, one of these grand Pharaonikis, to come and try and mate with your speeder bike?
I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
right? Like that
I
was
think
the whole
Cypher.
plan.
The idea is for Cypher to keep kind of on the move a little bit, moving around, because
Try and find them a little bit and attract one.
yeah, and then they're kind of hiding out. Are you guys on speeder bikes as well?
Do we have? How many do we have?
Because this is one of the upgrades that you guys took as being bounty hunters, you each have your own personal land vehicle.
Great, then. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all have speeder bikes. Yeah, of course we're using them.
Why would we not?
Yeah, that would be crazy. Well, we'd be a bunch of psychos.
Trudge through the jungle on a heavy load without the speeder bikes?
Yeah, no, we wouldn't have agreed to do that. That would have been crazy.
No.
So yeah, I think they're following me at a distance.
Yeah, so we're keeping a distance.
We could also get a 2-seater if one of you guys wants to.
Oh, can I get like the gun on the back? I don't know if my character would be into that, but
I have a large gun that you could shoot from the back.
there you go.
Yeah, heavy blaster with like, so you guys are in like a 2-seater, and then
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
like the Jack and Daxter 2-seaters. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so we can say that you guys have 1 2-seater and then 1 1-seater are your land vehicles, but let's just establish that now.
Yeah, seems cool.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Cool. So you're gonna let Cypher sort of go ahead and try and create this distraction while Gorpheus and Crash sort of trail behind and keep an eye out?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I think I'm gonna call for an action roll on this. Because you're still in a dangerous position here, right? You're still in an untamed jungle planet where you know that there are threats beyond and including the very thing that you're hunting. So what action skill would you guys like to use for this? What do you think makes sense?
I would suggest Skulk to sneak about.
I think that makes sense for what Crash and I are doing. Yeah, we should be skulking.
Yeah, because we're kind of sneaking around
I have no points in skulk.
Cypher here. I have, I'm piloting and I have a point in Skulk, so.
Okay, there we go. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can help you skulk.
Rake the, I don't know, could you have an insight?
The closest I can think is a tune. Maybe I could try to cut, I don't know, just commune with nature or something to try to perceive things. But no, I don't think I could really do anything. For
Oh, I
skulking.
mean, that sounds pretty good. Soon, we can make that work.
I'll give it a shot.
I mean, so Dom, do you want to do an actual attune action, or are you just assisting Crash with his skulking by attuning? Those are kind of different.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I figure I'll do the assists. I think I'm just trying to perceive and see, like, try to kind of sense nature to see if this creature is coming, but I don't know.
Do we all need to make our own action? Are we making 3 actions?
Not necessarily. I mean, it depends on It depends on what you guys are trying to accomplish and who's doing what, really.
Yeah, you could direct us. You could use your tune to try and find the way to go.
Yeah, but like, we're reaching with like, what can I really like? Because the magnetism powers, that's one thing. I don't know what other freaky way powers I have. So,
I mean, the way is the force, isn't it?
yeah, it is the force. So I'm just going with it. I'm just going to try to attune with the way and see if I can locate this creature and monitor our positioning.
Yeah, no, that sounds like the way to go.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, so it kind of sounds like that's more of an assistance thing right now to either Crash or Cypher as being sort of the guiding here. I don't think you necessarily need to roll on that at this moment.
Okay, yeah, I'll just try to assist.
But I mean, that's important to establish that that's what Gorpheus is doing. And, maybe I'll call for a roll on that later. What is Cypher going to do here? What is Cypher's plan?
Cypher's plan is speed.
So they're going, like, full speed, like, just blasting through the jungle?
I mean, if Gorpheus is attuning to tell us which direction to go, like Cypher's going as fast as in that direction as we would need to go. And like the idea is to stay fast enough on the move that like we're not ever stopped for something to actually attack us. Like you're much more likely to attack something that stops for a drink than you are something that's running through the woods.
Okay, cool. So, what skill would Cypher like to use for this? Helm again, or do you have something else in mind here?
I think just Helm.
Okay. So you can go ahead and give me a... This is going to be a risky standard roll. You can, if Gorpheus wants to take a point of stress, you can get an aid from him tuning and get a bonus die from that. And I will offer you a devil's bargain. How does that sound?
I love it.
Yeah, I'll take stress.
So devil's bargain is I'm offering you, with my hands outstretched, a beautiful golden die that you can add to your pile, 1 extra d6 for your action roll. But in exchange, I get a little something too. And what I get is an unavoidable, inescapable consequence that is gonna happen. This could be a lot of things depending on the situation, but the important thing to remember is that if you agree to this devil's bargain, there are no takesies, backsies. If I say the devil's bargain is that your mom finds out about this and is super disappointed in you, that happens. There's nothing you can do to change it. You can maybe...
Do we get to know what it is beforehand?
Yeah. I'm just throwing an example out there. So my devil's bargain for you here is that I will tick 1 clock of vigilance awareness regardless of the result of your action, because you're just moving full speed through the jungle.
Let's do it. I'll take it.
Okay. So I will tick up the 6-segment clock up to 1.
Shit. That's a 5.
That's a 5 off of your 4 dice.
Yeah, your extra die that you gave me was a 1.
My beautiful golden 1.
You son of a bitch.
It was rigged.
On a risky roll, a 5 is you do it, but there's a consequence. Maybe you suffer harm. Maybe there's a complication in the narrative. Maybe you're just not as effective, or you end up in a desperate position.
Can I throw out a suggestion?
No, you can't. I mean, normally you can, but I know what this is gonna be. In that you are going full speed through the jungle as Gorpheus is, on the two-seater behind you, eyes closed, feeling the power of the way coming through the jungle, just telling you left, right, left, straight. And you're flying on instinct, right? Which is why you don't see that underneath you, or in the path ahead, there is a snare. And you hit that snare. Not a snare, really. More like, we'll call it like a proton mine of some sort.
Oh my god.
And there's this burst of concussive force that erupts underneath your vehicle as you spin out, whoosh, 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 through the jungle, coming to a halt. You're uninjured. You don't take any harm. But you do wind up in a desperate position as your vehicle comes to a halt, and you can feel the warm breath on your cybernetic neck, Cypher, as when you look up, you see climbing down a tree is this 12-foot long, scaled, four-legged feline creature with a frilled lizard-like neck.
Yes, perfect. We found one.
It opens its wide maw, and you see 3 little tongues extend outward as it at you.
Oh god.
Meanwhile, behind Cypher, watching them spin out on their vehicle and the Grand Phareniki descending, Crash and Gorpheus, you come to a halt as well, right before where that mine had been placed. And you can see coming out of the woods with makeup on their face, not makeup, like disguise mud stuff, a small group of hunters, including one that you can see has just scarification all over his face. Damn fools blew the trap before the beast could. Bring it down fast. As a group of hunters raise their large blasters, and you are now in the middle of a 3-way conflict.
Oh shit.
What are you guys gonna do?
I love it.
Okay, well, have they spotted us?
Yeah, super. They super spotted us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Half of them have their guns pointed at Cypher. There are... Yes, yeah, in fact, there's 3 hunters that came out of the brush that have their guns drawn and pointed, sort of mixed at both the Grand Phareniki and Cypher, and then there's 2 more that come out to flank either side of you. Crash and Gorpheus on the vehicle.
Now, gents, we don't need to, kill each other.
Hello there, my friends.
You are in a desperate position.
Yeah, we're
just tourists.
Well, I think we're here for the same thing as you. But, well, you could have this one. We'll get the next. How's that?
The one takes the space safety off their gun as they point it at you. I don't know who you are, but Razor doesn't look too kindly to other hunters interfering. And you see the scarred man says, "Pay attention, you idiots. We're facing an apex predator. These fools can wait. As they start blasting, and the lizard thing, this lizard cat creature, leaps off the tree over Cypher on the stalled speeder bike, landing in the middle of all of you, and just is starting to swipe its claws wildly at everyone here. What are you all doing?
Captain, I think we should maybe keep our distance a little bit.
Well, yeah, so I'm going to immediately kind of maneuver our vehicle, kind of out a little bit into the woods slightly and sort of, over to the other side so that they kind of lose track of where exactly we are immediately, so that we can kind of take advantage of the situation.
Just create some distance, put some cover between us and, the bad guys.
Exactly.
Do you want them to basically lose them entirely, or just trying to create...
No, just make it hard to follow our movements.
No. Just, a little bit of cover, we're in a jungle, I mean, I figure we can...
Just, we're passing through trees. It's not like they can't follow us, but now it's just a little bit harder.
Yeah, but they're paying attention to this big thing, and, maybe, we might sort of be able to get the jump on them a little bit because they're distracted and they lost track of where we were.
Yeah, and I want to, while he's doing this, I want to assess the situation. So I'm looking for Cypher and seeing how to make sure he gets out safe.
Yeah, I mean, you see Cypher, you are on the vehicle still. Your land vehicle, your hover bike is mostly okay. It seems like you triggered more like a stun mine than anything else, so there's no permanent damage to the vehicle, but it's still stalling out as you see this apex predator in the middle of this group trying to swipe at people. Some of these hunters are jumping out of the way, firing, but their laser blasts are bouncing off the scaled hide of this creature. Your two friends are kind of hightailing it out of here, it sounds like.
So Cypher is going to push on their chest as a fine small Urbot pops out and starts flying in kind of at the face and hovering around the Grand Faraniki and just kind of producing kind of camera flashes at it to kind of just stun it for a little bit as Cypher tries to quickly fix the issue on this speeder bike so that they can keep moving.
Sure. So Cypher, what action would you like to take to do that?
I'd like to take a rig check.
Sure.
To do this quickly enough before it kind of is able to swat away my Urbot and come for me.
Sure. So you are going to be in a desperate situation right now. And I think this is ultimately going to have limited effect. Because a little Urbot flashing light at this thing is not maybe the best distraction, considering the situation. But the good news there is that because you are taking an action in a desperate situation, you get to actually mark some experience. So because Rig is an insight skill, you can mark one box on your insight skill track. There are 6 spots there, so basically when you have taken 6 desperate insight actions, you will level up your insight and be able to put a point in an insight skill of your choice.
Cool.
So, how many points you got in Rig?
2 dice.
2 dice. How do you feel about that? Does that feel good to you, or are you trying to get some bonus dice here?
I think I'm good with 2. I think I can handle it.
Okay, you can always take 2 stress to push yourself and get a bonus die. You can always ask for a devil's bargain if you want one. I think your friends are running away and aren't really able to assist you though on this one. But
Hold on, I have an idea. Knockout drugs. Could that be a tranquilizer?
it could be. How effective do you think a little tranquilizer dart's gonna be here?
No, not a little one, like, an elephant's tranquilizer.
It's a full-on item. It's knockout drugs. It's part of your load.
It's just as heavy as a whole repair tools or a detonator or blaster.
The knockout drugs actually do not count as load. Anything in italics is 0 load, which means you can effectively always use those at any point, basically.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Sweet,
but,
I always have a victory cigar.
Funny enough, the rule book actually does say with the knockout drugs may be less effective on some Xenos, which I'm gonna say definitely applies to the apex predator of the jungle.
Gotcha.
I think it applies to me too.
What about shooting a tranquilizer at the main dude? What's his name? Razor? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Razor.
Yeah, you want to shoot a tranquilizer at Razor and just let the creature gobble him up?
We can use him as a distraction. It'll be fine.
Oh my god.
I think that's actually going to be like 2 separate actions, but I love that idea. So first give me that rig roll. That is
We got a 6.
a 6 on a desperate action. That's about as good as you can do in the situation. And in fact, you do it. The little drone starts to fly around and snapping photos or whatever it is that it's doing to cause these flashes. Yeah.
It's just like flashing like bright lights to kind of like, mess with it.
The Grand Faraniki, much like a cat seeing a laser pointer, is distracted in just a moment, and you are able to quickly, use your repair tools to punch your speeder bike into overdrive and get it back into the air and start tearing out of there, and you are able to group up with Cypher, with Gorpheus and Crash. As Crash,
Well, I don't necessarily want to group up with them. Like, I want this Grand Faraniki on my tail. I want it chasing me.
okay,
Good idea.
cool.
That is a good idea.
So the Grand Faraniki starts chasing after my gosh, I will get your character's name right at certain points. The Grand Faraniki does start chasing after Cypher as they speed away on their hover bike. Crash, you have your knockout drug-laced blaster. Or I guess it wouldn't be a blaster. It would be, more of a traditional projectile.
Blow dart.
Yeah.
blow
It's fine. It's literally a blow dart.
You have it locked and loaded and ready to fire at Razor, but now you see the Grand Faraniki chasing after Cypher. Do you still want to take the shot? Do you want to do something else?
Oh no, I'm still taking
Yeah, take the shot.
Are you kidding me? There's no reason not to.
Okay. So what action would you like to use here?
I would think, I don't know, does scrap make sense for that? I am attacking him basically, right?
Yeah, I think scrap makes as much sense as anything here. So go ahead and make your scrap check. You're still in a desperate situation, but this will have standard effect.
I think I'm just gonna take 2 stress.
Take 2 stress to push yourself and get an extra die.
Yeah, bonus die, yep.
All right, go ahead.
Oh,
Let's go.
and it worked because that final die turned out to be a 6.
That will be a 6. That means you do it. No consequence for this particular action as you launch your blow dart, your knockout drug infused projectile, into the neck of this scarred up hunter who has just enough time to yank the needle out of his neck. Get them before falling to the ground unconscious as the rest of the hunters turn their attention to the two of you as the Grand Faraniki chases after Cypher. And I think maybe we call it there, huh? Maybe that's the end of the episode.
No, I think that's fair. I was ready to keep going, but I think that's a fair end to the episode.
It's a good spot. I just, I'm ready.
Well, you'll be ready next time on Escape the Dungeon. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we hope that you've been having as much fun as we have. Tune in to the same podcast channel. Whatever. End the episode. Thank you for listening to Escape the Dungeon. Escape the Dungeon is created by Dom Brass, Nate Brass, Zach Brass, and Mike Cripps, with editing and original music by Tyler Nate. If you enjoyed this show, please consider subscribing and leaving a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. To find us on social media, go to escapethedungeonpod.com.